Want to know all of the Easter eggs that show player 001 was actually an insider? Did you know that all of the deaths are foretold in the series? Maybe you want to know about the one detail you missed about the red light, green light doll. In that case, don't swipe or click away because here are the Squid Game secrets they don't want you to know. Number 10. All the deaths are foretold. And all of them are in the second episode, well, almost all of them. You'll see why in a second. In episode 2 of Squid Game, after they've all decided to go back home, the main characters from episode 1 were back to their everyday problems. For example, Deok-soo was almost killed for crossing a gang member and he jumped off a bridge to kill himself. And do you remember how he got killed? It was when he was pushed off the glass bridge in one of the games by a woman he mistreated. Oh, but that's nothing. Sae-byuk almost slashed a man's throat in this episode when he asked for more money to bring her parents back from North Korea. And yes, Sang-woo slashed her throat while she's sleeping. Then you could say that Ali steals the money from his boss even though the money was rightfully his, and then Sang-woo stole his marbles from him in the fourth game, killing him instantly. Speaking of the thief, Sang-woo said that he was thinking about suicide and then actually killed himself in the last episode, letting Ji-hun take the money. Lastly, Ji-hun swore on his mother's life for Sae-byuk to untie him, lied about it, and guess what happened to his mother in the last episode? Number 9. The doll's hair clip is Squid Game. In the first episode of the Squid Game, we were too busy trying to see what's going on and what's happening to the characters to even notice this minor detail. But it's there nonetheless. If you look at the doll from the first game, Red Light, Green Light, you'll see that this doll has a little pink pin on her bangs. The hairpin is shaped just like the Squid Game cord, and many fans never even noticed it. Since this is a plastic doll and doesn't need a hairpin to hold her hair, we'd say that this was a symbol of what the contestants should be expecting in the games to come. Too bad everyone was too busy trying not to get shot and didn't even notice it.
You will be playing red light, green light. Green light.
Number 8. They wanted the coffins to represent a gift. If you look at the coffin that's used to drag out Sae-byuk's body, and then you look at the present that Ji-hun won at the arcade for his daughter, you'll see that these presents are exactly the same. It's just that one was bigger and the other one was smaller, and the ribbons were different colors. When talking to the art director of the show, Chae Kyung-sun, he said, "Smash that like button if you haven't done so already." But no, in all seriousness, he said that he focused on getting inside the head of the man that created the game, adding, "I imagine he'd think he gave the contestants a chance as if he's a god. This is my gift to you. Even your body is being disposed of in the incinerator is a show of my mercy." Number 7. The Maldives Easter Egg. Lee Byung-hun plays the character we know as frontman on the show. Aside from being one of the main characters on the show, he's also a very popular South Korean actor. And Player 240 referenced a line from his famous movie Inside Men, where Lee says, "Let's have a drink or Maldives in mojito." She and Sae-byuk were talking about the first thing they'd do if they won the 45.6 billion won prize. Player 240 said that she'd go to the Maldives, and we all know what our Player 67 was planning to do with the money. Number 6. The show was rejected for 10 years. This was kind of a shocker to us and the first time we heard it, but it turns out it's actually true. None of the major Japanese movie companies wanted to make the movie. Hwang Dong-hyuk, the writer and director of the show, stated that for 10 years the show was getting rejected. At one point, he was in such a dire situation that he had to sell his laptop for $675, and this put a hold on his script. But 2 years ago, Netflix picked up the idea, they made it into a show, and the rest, as they say, is history. Now, another interesting fact about this show is that Hwang never intended for the show to have a second season because he doubted anyone would ever like the show. But since the piles of fan mail poured in, he reconsidered.
Oh, about that, Grandma, why did you get kicked out?
Grandma? Don't you ever call me that!
Number 5. Oh Ir-nam's name. This old geezer was behind the Squid Game all along. The frontman was nothing more than, well, a frontman. The real brain behind the operation was Oh Ir-nam. He orchestrated the plan, and instead of watching like the rest of the participants, he joined them, wanting to have fun for one last time. Another interesting thing about him is his name. If translated, it literally means one man. Or if you read between the lines, this can also mean first man. It's a huge spoiler that was staring everyone in the face. Well, everyone that knows Korean, that is. Number 1. Player 1 had no record. Another telltale sign that this old man was in on the game was when they found the record book of all the contestants in the Squid Game. Look in closely and you'll see the contestants start from number 2. There's no number 1. This means only one thing: Oh Ir-nam was in on the deal from the very start. And why was Oh Ir-nam sitting alone when everyone was choosing a partner for the marble game? Could he have known that the player who doesn't get a partner will be left alone at the end? Yes, that's exactly what he was hoping for. But then Ji-hun came along and ruined all of his plans. There were some who speculated that the doll camera didn't target him like everyone else, but we're not gonna get into that. Number 3. Number 456 followed Ji-hun. In the first episode, after losing all of his money on the racehorses, Ji-hun finally won. When he went to pick up the cash, he had exactly 4.56 million won in his hands. See, the director knew what he was doing and he prepared us for an amazing show. Of course, then Sae-byuk took all of his money and he was back to zero. Number 2. The walls of the dorm room represent the games. Okay, this is insane. Did you see that the walls of the dorm room where all 456 players were sleeping had sketches on the walls? If the players paid a little more attention to these sketches, they could have realized that this dorm room told them their entire future. But they were too busy bickering and fighting each other to even notice this. That's why, at the end of the season, where there were only 3 contestants left, you could clearly see all of the games in chronological order jotted on the wall for everyone could see. All they needed was to have one player notice them and then told a select few about the secret. That way, they could have all prepared ahead of time. Number 1. Oh Ir-nam is Ji-hun's father. Now, we know this might be a bold statement, but just hear us out and then decide if you believe it or not. Sound fair enough? Okay, let's begin. In the show, we only met Ji-hun's mother and we never get to meet his father. His mother's name is Oh Mal-soon, which means she kept her husband's last name. And one of the biggest telltale signs came when Oh Ir-nam asked Ji-hun for the date. He wanted to know if it's the 24th day of the month, as his son's birthday was coming soon. From the first episode when Ji-hun entered his date of birth as the pin in the ATM, it showed 0426. This means Ir-nam's son and Ji-hun shared the same birthday. Mind freaking blown. And don't even get us started on how Ir-nam was growing close to Ji-hun from the very beginning and how he and Ji-hun were the only ones to recognize the neighborhood in the marble game.
You have to hold your ground. You should lean back, practically lie down.
On a related note, if there's a season 2, do you think they'll reveal that Ji-hun and Oh Ir-nam are related? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like to see more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.